Welcome to the Claims Underground podcast with your hosts, Corey Locke and Troy Willis, where we help policyholders just like you understand your policy and how to navigate through an insurance claim. We advocate for homeowners as well as businesses when insurance companies won't pay. So if you're tired of getting the runaround and ready to find out what's really going on, then let's get down to business and learn from the insurance claims experts, Corey Locke and Troy Willis.
Hey, welcome to Claims Underground. I'm Corey Locke, and with me is my co-host, Troy Willis.
Hi, I'm Troy Willis. I'm a licensed public adjuster, retired builder, expert witness, certified appraiser and umpire, and I've been doing this for about 30 years or so in the insurance industry, and we advocate for policyholders. Today's subject, I'm sorry.
I'm also a public adjuster. I forgot that. I'm also a public adjuster, 35 years of experience, 26 with the carriers, and an expert witness and an estimator. And we're presenting a bit more information about your policy. So, Troy, go ahead and hit me back with a question I think you were queuing up to ask.
A pipe break in a slab. That's a perfect thing. A slab has a pipe. That's our scenario. A pipe in it, it breaks, and now water's everywhere. And now, how does that work when you're the customer?
Well, I think you're needing to come back and say, is this a sudden event? So if you got water, as I do right now, I have water covering one of my clients downstairs, and it's mixed in with dirt, and it's covering the entire downstairs, and it's coming out in volume. That's a flood. That's a sudden accidental event because they weren't living in a flooded event before they left. Okay, so after they came home from the store, they have a flooded event. That's a sudden loss. That's a covered peril all day long with a broken pipe. They got to find a broken pipe. There it is. Now, we might have access issues. That broken pipe might be in the wall, might be in the slab. We're now seeing that there are limitations. And guys, you got to be reading your policy. You got to be dead on with this. Yes. They're now saying that they don't have coverage for foundations in a house policy. If we specifically don't cover foundations, I'm still getting my head around that. But they also went to the length to say, I don't care if that's in the foundation, but we don't even pay for you to open that up and get access to it and come back out. That's always been the traditional. Well, we may not cover the pipe, but we cover the access. If I got to go dig it through this floor, then I'm going to cover, get it, open it. We won't pay for the actual cost of the pipe, but we'll come back out. We'll fix the foundation. We'll fix the floor. We'll fix all the ensuing water damage. That's being walked back now. You're seeing some really clever endorsements or language that's getting past the regulators in individual states that are saying, well, we won't cover pipes. We won't cover the access to the pipes. We won't cover foundations. We don't cover any of those things. Well, first of all, that's silly. Most people would say that's silly because how would I have a house without a foundation? Now they clarify that if there's a fire and the foundation's affected, then they'll cover it as being a fire. But any other way, for any other reason, it's not going to get covered. So that's probably the most crucial thing. If you got a drip that's happening, and you see black mold covering it all the way around, or you have rotten framing all the way around it,
it for a while.
It didn't happen today. Didn't happen yesterday. Now, let's be honest here. There are certain events that could occur that, given the fact that if your whole house is covered in water and it's 110 degrees outside and you're not running your air conditioning to, keep it climate controlled, you will get mold in hours. But that just comes with a little bit of common sense, guys. If you have water covering everywhere, and you have mold going up your walls and it's 110 degrees outside, that's not a living condition that you've allowed to occur over a significant amount of time. That's related to the water loss. That just gets handled with the water loss. In California, if you're tearing all that stuff out anyway because of the water, there's no limitations on the mold. Yeah, we can negotiate that. Now we get to talk about this as reasonable human beings. Okay, what are we applying to the mold? Okay, once we tear out all the wet stuff, which had the mold on top of it anyway, what are we really doing with the mold? Well, let's just, if we have to sand the framing, that's maybe mold. Maybe that's an issue. Maybe we apply the mildewcide. Okay, well, that's a little bit farther than I want to go, but okay, we can talk about it. But usually there are a lot of limitations for mold. Not everything's mold. In a house, if I'm tearing out 4 feet up because of flood, all that's coming out because of the flood, not because of mold.
Absolutely. You mentioned going back to the perils. I know some people have had these questions, and I know I've heard them as well. A mudslide. Mudslides are very specific, but very interesting to know. How would you define mudslides being a peril, and how would they apply?
Mudslides could be excessive rain applied on a hillside and causes slippage, and then it just runs through your house. And if you've never seen a mudslide, I don't know. It's that's basically the worst thing that you have to deal with, because now your house is sitting 4 feet below where it is, because now whatever was in your house that was 8 feet tall is 4 feet tall. So a mudslide is earth movement. A mudslide is not going to be covered, just like earthquake is not covered. However, there is a caveat. In California, they codified this as what's the proximate cause of the mudslide? Was the mudslide caused by just the mudslide, or was the mudslide caused by the wildfire that happened 6 months before that burned out everything that held the hillside in place? So there's a little bit of codification to causation here, that in California, at least, if you have a burn scar that's in the back of your house in some way, shape, or form, and it happened from a wildfire, guess what? That's no longer a mudslide. That's an outcome of fire loss. So it's covered under a fire policy. So you might be sitting with 4 feet of mud in your 2,000 square foot home, and everyone would initially say to you, most adjusters who are coming from out of state and have seen flood and just come in and say, well, there's no coverage for this, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because, there's earth movement. There's no coverage for that. Okay. That's not a person that knows what California is about. So I'm not just saying that California is going to be the be all end all, but guys, you got to know what your law is in your own state. So the first place you got to go looking for is United Policyholders. They're a 50-state initiative organization, uphelp.org. And uphelp.org is a place that we sponsor as sponsors, because we believe in their mandate to help policyholders. And they have information that always crops up after a catastrophe. And after catastrophe, they're telling you what your state laws are. They're telling you how to advocate for yourself. They're telling you what forms you need to fill out or how you need to fill it out. They hold organizational meetings on Zoom or in place. So the best way that you can get up on your individual law in your location, start out with uphelp.org. They'll point you in the right direction. But once you get that direction, you got to dig in. You got to dig in and start asking more questions about, what does this cover in my own jurisdiction? The next place to go is your Department of Insurance. They're going to be giving out mandates. They're going to be giving out white papers. They're going to be giving out notice to carriers. So after every event, you always see this kind of, this is the track record. This is what happens. So mudslide in other areas other than the one we're sitting in California is maybe a covered peril if there was a prior fire. If there was no prior fire, probably is not covered.
Couldn't have said that better, I swear. Well, until next time, Troy Willis.
Corey Locke.
And we're out. We'll see you on our next segment. Please join us for our next segment on duties after a loss.
Thanks for listening to the Claims Underground podcast. We hope you enjoyed this segment. If you need more information on insurance policies, feel free to check out our website, www.claimsunderground.com. And remember, when the insurance companies won't pay, we're here to help. Until next time.